Hey, everybody. Musha the Scribe, sending all light, love, and healing energy to all the celestial beings of the cosmos. This video here will be entitled, My Thoughts on Race, okay? I don't even know where to start with this video here. It's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, Just try to take everything as fact from research on history, culture, the cosmos, the chemical balance of bodies, DNA, RNA, DEA, diet, and how bodies work with nature. Work in correlation with the sun and the moon and the cosmos, the wind, the waters, and things like that. Okay. To start out with, all races. And I'm gonna have to probably do more than part one to this because I know there are gonna be more questions. And I'll go ahead and do a whole series of this one here. But let's start off with this first. All races on this planet that live under the sun, they have some type of percentage of melanin in their bodies, okay? When it comes to what they like to call the black races, the Moorish or Moorish races, we have not only melanin, but a lot of people confuse the melanin with the carbon or the carbon-6. Two different chemicals for real, two different compounds, all right? So we're gonna start with that. Next, when it comes to like Caucasians and Caucasoids, there is a difference between the ones who have melanin in their genetic code and their DNA and everything and the ones who do not. That's where the etymology of the Caucasian comes from, because the predative being of the Caucasian is what we would call the 3 or 4% that run, the government and the world and the three-headed beast on this realm and things. The ones who run shit. We always talk about how it's only 3 or 4% of people. That is not the Caucasian. That is actually what is called the Caucasoid. The original Caucasus Mountain cats. And that's a story for another day. But just giving y'all an overview in this video. When it comes to other races, like with a lot of races, the farther back you go, the blacker they get. Just plain and simple. Not being funny or anything like that. Moorish DNA and the chemical balance of what makes a Mur is more prominent in races older generations for real. Even when it comes to like the people in the position of power, even if they're white, a lot of the time their family is considered royal and they're put into certain positions because when it breaks down to it, they got more DNA, they have more nigga DNA in them than your everyday white person for real. That's just a fact. When it comes to like, because people build a divide between even the Moorish races or the people of the copper tone or the red hue or black, whatever you want to call it today. They separate them, and I understand where they're coming from at times because yes, these people aren't these people. All races are not the same. I agree with that. But I agree with it on a term that's not the layman's, to where you don't look like me, so we're not the same. It's just like, in my eyes, different races should be considered different species. This isn't based off of image again. This is based off of how you react when under that sun. This is how your body reacts to eating certain foods. It's like you got to think about the world now is like all of us are different species in a zoo. And instead of us being in all our own terraniums, we're all in the same habitat. Some beings are going to flourish off of the genetically modified shit and things because they have a newer created DNA to where now they can thrive off of these things. But certain people that have the older genetic, are still closely connected to nature as far as eating, breathing, living, things of that nature. So the same shit they buying at the dollar store is going to kill them rather than their neighbor who's going to eat it and get stronger. You feel me? Like, that's what I'm getting at when it comes to that. That's why I say, like, it's like, look at a cat and a dog. They both walk on all fours, you feel me? They both drink a certain way to where their tongue does that hook shit, you know? Very similar, but at the same time, if you feed that nigga what you feeding that one, he gonna fuck around and die, and the other one gonna be strong as shit, you know? And that's just like with genetic makeup and things, as well as you have to play in karmic debt as another huge factor with the races or species of beings, okay? Because there are different ways and different levels of ascension that you can reach per race, per being, per species. You feel me? There are different dimensional realms you will be allowed to ascend or descend to per race, per species. You know, and that it's different places you can go, different access you're going to have. And it's just because the closer the connection with nature, the higher you will naturally be able to ascend. A way of ascending into higher realms is shit that's unnatural, is shit like CERN, and things. Shit that doesn't have anything to do with nature, but they're using science to attach to nature in a closer way, if that makes sense for real. Like, loopholes in the system, and not only loopholes, but adaptation for certain species. If you want to survive amongst the natural people in a natural habitat, you have to do things to become more natural over time, which is going to be interbreeding with other races, which has been practiced for millennia, as well as adapting a natural diet. It has dietary parts into it that are natural, but then you got to add that extra hint of shit to keep you together for real. That's all they're doing. Survival. And on another note, like, that's why all races, different religions or spiritual groups, everybody, when you come and put them together, everybody's telling the story from their own point of view. That's the biggest thing that's lost in translation with different religions and different spiritual systems. Everybody is telling damn near the same story from their point of view. He's that nigga to y'all, but he's not that nigga to us. Because in his story, he did everything he could to keep your people strong, keep them on, keep y'all living forever, while fucking over ours. But in our story, our people that was riding, you know, that's y'all's enemy, because we are different beings from different points of view, from different habitats and terraniums, you know, that just so happened after everything that has happened, people have been grafted, interbred, encaged, locked up into one damn zoo that don't have no bars on it, and we all just out this bitch. That's like trying to give in certain ways, like, again, with the dietary thing, some people call it the genocide of food, nutricide, killing a being by making it eat another being's diet. That's like trying to put a lion on the diet of like an ant. You know he's going to get sickly and die. And it just so happens that where we are now, yes, the Caucasoids put us in a place to where we're eating on a diet and living a lifestyle that is not accustomed to us. As prisoners of war, you get what you get. You don't get what you need. You understand? So even though freedoms are becoming different now and shit, now people are getting onto the organic diets and different things like that. That's what it is. You're just in a different habitat than you naturally were before, because of different things such as war, jealousy, the ego, people betraying each other, betrayal, all types of things that I could get into, and I probably will over this series of videos. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it for real. As I told y'all before, the main goal this time around is we are in the polarity integration program. You should be more worried about balancing your energy, how you love and treat people, rather than being on a maleficent wave, because that's what got us here in the first place. I don't start history at when a certain group got fucked over and we're trying to get our shit back. I focus on the history of how we even got to the point of being fucked over and beforehand. I don't stop at one grid and keep it going like that. The whole Gregorian time frame is capped. That's only a small piece of crumb of the actual history that we do have. And that's how I feel about it, for real. That's not to say, like, and everybody always likes to blend this shit in together, like, well, if you think like that, then you're forgiving people for all the shit they did and things like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you have to have an understanding without emotion to dig what I'm saying right now, for real. Yeah, a lot of people did a lot of wrong to other people, and that is debt that has to be paid to the cosmos. That's called karmic debt. When people talk about your forefathers did this to this people and this and that, that's what they're getting at. They're getting at karmic debt. You have to be ego tripping to think that if you can't pay off your karmic debt, you won't be allocated to ascend in a way tuned for you, for real. That's your ego talking when you get into that type of shit. Like, these people can't, as a whole, they're not going to be able to sin. They're not going to be able to sin for this and that. No, it doesn't work like that, man. That's just an ego trip. Everything is about that polarity integration. You got to balance. You got to pay your dues back of the cosmic laws you violated. And then over time after that, you will be straight. You will be allowed to ascend to whatever area or level that is built for you and your species. You feel me? But that's how I feel about it, for real. No karmic debt goes unlooked at. I've seen people say there's ways around karmic debt and things like that. I don't believe in that personally. Karmic debt has to be paid, for real, straight up. Can it be done? Yeah, most definitely. It'll take time, it'll take work, it'll take love, it'll take, people as a whole to change up their vibration. Excuse me, but it can be done, for real. And on this topic, anything else I feel I missed? Not really. A lot of the time I feel like we have to, don't let ego trip you out of real information. People like to overlook shit sometimes when it comes to this information because of who we are to our people, for real, But you got to take everything into accord and kick it like that, for real. It's the truth. I ain't going to get on here and kick y'all no bullshit, for real. But that's how I feel about it, man. This is my thoughts on race. And we'll get into another video where I explain deeper, like, the history behind each race. Because predominantly, there are like 4 or 5. It might be 3 or 4, but I'm going to say 4 or 5 races that you would say were here in the beginning with these different shades. And then interbreeding happened, grafting happened. People was fucking, keep it real. Like, man, I like to get rid of a lot of that mysticism and shit when I get with these videos, for real. And I talked about that before. Some of the older beings, the bigger ones and shit like that we would call, some of them only exist because the big ones was fucking the small ones, and everybody want to make it all super mystical and shit. Nah, they do the same shit we do here. As above, so below. It is what it is. Decisions were made, mistakes were made, shit came to be. Decisions, mistakes, whatever you call that middle ground where you're like, hey, we'll get up with y'all, so there'll be peace on this side of the planet. That shit happened. A whole lot happened, for real, man. But run this back if you have to. Hit me in the comments if you need me to, what areas you want me to explain on deeper, and I will, for real, because I have plenty of information on this topic right here. It's not to down anyone. It's not to offend anyone. It's to give everybody a sense of understanding of how this shit should be explained to the different races, for real. Because niggas don't be saying shit right. We gonna get it together, though. Mad love.